Hello, you handsome devils. Per usual, Thailand headlines, they don't disappoint. It is just a never-ending, a bottomless well of entertainment, if you will. You know, just story after story of things that would just have you looking like. But we do have some pretty crazy stories today. Some, it might not seem why it would be relevant at first if you are planning a trip to Thailand soon, but not to worry. I'm here. I got you, your favorite, least qualified reporter/journalist on the internet. So let's hop into these stories and see what's exactly happening in Thailand this week. Friends, how are we doing? I hope you're having a wonderful day. If not, well, just go to sleep, I guess. Maybe wake up tomorrow, try again. But per usual, I was perusing the internet earlier today as well as last night, looking for any stories that might, provide some lessons for those of us in Thailand or people who might be coming. And then, mostly of things exactly what not to do, right? And then some other stories that I thought were just funny or, gave you one of those looks like this every time you read it. You're like, wait, what? So I wanted to share those with you. At this point, you know what we're doing. We all know why we're here. So let's get into it. Hopping right into our first story, Chinese man arrested for selling laughing gas in Pattaya. Police arrested a Chinese man during a sting operation at Pattaya yesterday, March 12th, for selling laughing gas to teenagers through online advertisements. Officers from the Immigration Bureau Division 3 said they received a tip-off that a Chinese national was promoting the sale of nitrous, commonly known as laughing gas, online. Police said the adverts were widely shared online and appeared to show disregard for Thai law. Immigration said that they investigated and identified the suspect's accommodation, described as a 2-story house in central Pattaya. Must be nice. Officers said the suspect stored the items there and arranged to meet customers outside the property. Officers then posed as customers and ordered a canister of the gas for 2,400 baht using a contact number shown in the advertisement. Shortly afterwards, police said the suspect left the house with the order and handed it to officers, who then arrested him. A search of the accommodation led to the seizure of a .38 firearm, 11 rounds of .38 ammunition, 58 rounds of 9mm ammunition, 3 shotgun shells, 1 Glock magazine, 3 shotgun shells. Random. This is one of those things. We've talked about it a bit on this channel before. There are some things in Thailand that, although they are illegal, you might see them everywhere. So another one of those things that a lot of people don't actually know is the companionship industry. We'll call it that so YouTube doesn't banhammer me.
Don't do that.
But that's actually illegal too. So just goes to show there are quite a few things in Thailand that just because you see them everywhere does not necessarily mean that you are allowed to do it or that it's okay. Another person, if you remember, we just a couple weeks ago, we had another story of a person that was just blatantly advertising on Instagram. That just screams Dum Dum of the Week award to me. I don't understand how you think you could get away with that. Even if you make up fake emails, all that stuff, things are going to be registered to you, right? Especially when you come to Thailand as a foreigner, if you want to go get a SIM card, you have to bring your passport with you. Why? Because then that SIM card gets registered to you. There's tons of metadata on your phone. When you post things to the internet, it's very easy for police to track those things down. Laughing gas is one of those things. I have seen these advertisements multiple times, and I feel like it's also a bit dangerous because it's one of those things that, since it's pretty much everywhere, it's one, you kind of see it all the time. I think a lot of people don't realize how dangerous it can be, especially if you overdo it, especially when you're mixing it with things like alcohol. It can be really dangerous. So let's not do this. Just not a very good idea if you're going to be, trying to sell some type of illicit substance, to be making Instagram ads, because, just like everywhere else in the world, Thai police are not stupid. They understand that a lot of these, industries have moved over towards the internet. So they have entire sections of their departments dedicated to finding this stuff. So don't do that.
Don't do that.
Now, hopping into our next story, this is one that I felt was important to touch on because it's another one of those things that, maybe if you're coming to Thailand for the first time, it's something that you might not understand. And if you get caught in the wrong place at the wrong time when something like this is going on, it can get very dangerous. Almost 500 teenagers gathered nightly for street racing in Patani. Residents in Patani asked for urgent action today, March 11th, after a large group of teenagers were seen gathering overnight to race motorcycles on a public road, causing noise, disruption, safety concerns for other road users. The complaint centered on repeated incidents on Road 43. Residents said that nearly 500 people began assembling from about 12 a.m., parking motorcycles along both sides of the road for more than 400 to 500 meters in Barahau district. They added that the racing then intensifies from about 1 a.m. and continues till around 4 a.m. So unfortunately, this is something that is pretty common in Thailand. And the reason I wanted to touch on this is because there's kind of a caveat when it comes to riding and driving in Thailand. Now, I'm a big motorcycle guy. A lot of people want to come to Thailand, ride bikes. There's a very important part to understand that can be easy to miss if you do want to ride bikes. So something that I consider, especially when I was living in Pattaya, it can be really tempting to just say, if you're a night owl like myself, it hits, 1, 2, 3 in the morning, and then you want to go get your stuff done because Thailand is very 24-hour friendly, which is nice. And it could be very easy to assume that things are going to be less dangerous because there's less traffic, right? Now, that is true to an extent, but at the same time, not only are there people ripping around like this that want to race and drive like absolute maniacs, another thing to consider is also people are going to be leaving the bars. So I don't know what I would rather deal with. Share the road with 100 people that are all sober, or share it with 10 people that have been drinking or, want to race everybody around them. You can make that decision on your own, but if you're riding around late, please keep an eye out. Just because there's less traffic does not mean you should let your guard down. Ride defensive, just kind of assume that everybody is out to get you and you should probably be all right. Had to take a little break there because my microphone is in fact dying. If you hear this beeping, that's what it is. But we're gonna power through it. Not the optimal setup, but what can you do? Welcome to the game. So rolling right into our next story. This is another one of those things that if I found myself in this situation, just every red flag there could possibly be would be flying, but apparently not everybody else thinks that way. Russian woman arrested over illegal beauty clinic in a Pattaya condo. Chonburi immigration police arrested a Russian woman for illegally operating a beauty clinic from her condo in Pattaya, with services reportedly aimed at Russian clients. Chonburi Provisional Immigration Office said it received a tip-off that a Russian national was running an unlicensed clinic and promoting it through advertisements and customer reviews on Instagram. Officers investigated the information and traced the suspected operation to a condo in Banglamun district. During surveillance, officers saw a Russian woman, later identified as 34-year-old Anastasia, welcoming several foreign visitors and taking them up to the room. According to police, the visits of various foreigners suggested the possibility of illegal action. Police seized equipment and beauty products as evidence. Some of the beauty and medical products were unregistered under Thai law. Now, if you've been here long enough, we've covered a couple other stories of people that were posing as physicians. I think there was another one that was faking being a dentist, which is absolutely terrifying to me. I hate the dentist as it is. I couldn't imagine figuring out the guy cranking on my teeth was not, didn't go to school to do so. So when it comes to things like beauty clinics, like private doctor's offices, anything like that, anything that could be like on the medical side of stuff, there are so many of them in Thailand, and they are all pretty much very relatively affordable compared to America. So if this is something that you want to do, if you want to come here, you want to get beautified, get your Botox and stuff, there are plenty of places where you can do it, and places that have been vetted and have, very good reviews and have been there for a long time and are very transparent about their qualifications. So if you do need to get some work done, I highly, highly advise do not go to some random person's condo, especially if it was a foreigner, because, if you've been in Thailand, you know that these types of positions are reserved for Thai people. So it's obvious she's not doing it legally, and people are getting injections and stuff of God knows what. That is absolutely terrifying. Another thing to be conscious of, especially when it comes to like all the beauty treatments and things like that, there is a black market for fake products in Thailand, especially being so close to Korea. A lot of that stuff is highly sought after. There's a lot of money in that industry. So of course there's people trying to capitalize by selling fake stuff. So I hope I don't have to tell you, if it's going to be stuff you're putting in your body, make sure you're going to a reputable source, getting reputable products, preferably a place where it's Thai people working. That way you know they're all legit. I don't advise going to the random person's condo that you saw on Instagram and letting them inject you with whatever.
It's bad, real bad.
And speaking of unlicensed illegal products, here we go again, go figure. Russian man arrested for processing and selling cannabis products in Pattaya. Police yesterday, March 5th, arrested a 27-year-old Russian man for processing and selling cannabis products without a permit near Jomtien Beach. Chonburi Immigration Police said officers received a tip-off that a foreigner was processing and distributing cannabis products in the area. Sorry, I'm saying that's ridiculously on purpose, hopefully so the YouTube gods don't demonetize my video. During the search, officers found Lisovoy processing flowers and selling cannabis products to people nearby, particularly foreign tourists. The officers seized what they described as a large quantity of products and equipment, including 48 packs of dried flowers, an oven, fridge, three crates of plastic packaging material, and 13 other pieces of processing tools. Police charged him under Section 46 of the Act on Protection and Promotion of Traditional Thai Medicine for selling and processing controlled herbs without permission. The offense carries a penalty of 1 year in prison or up to 20,000 baht or both. Now, I didn't mention it in this particular article, but I looked into this a bit more, and apparently
I've never been on live television before.
This same guy had been charged and released like a month before. Like the police had already busted him and shut down the operation, and apparently he paid his fine or whatever and just went right back to it. And it was, pretty Wild West set up there for a while, but they are definitely starting to crack down on this more and more. And when it comes to just buying stuff like this from random people, there are a couple things to it that I honestly didn't really understand until I started growing myself in America. And I've been around it pretty much my whole life. So the thing about buying from these random people or these random shops that aren't properly licensed, I do believe there needs to be a little more scrutiny when it comes to the product itself. When it comes to things like pesticides, molds, there's all kinds of gross stuff that can be in these flowers that is absolutely terrible for you to smoke. So you don't want to be doing that. And this guy was also making concentrates. So essentially he's extracting the THC from the flowers and then making things like wax, hash, whatever, especially when it comes to that stuff. You do not want to buy that stuff from somebody who's not a legitimate, person that's really informed on how to do that properly. So the thing about it is just a little breakdown. We won't go full in depth, but to pull those crystals off of the actual flower, you need some type of solvent. So something that it will attach to, then you can remove it and get it out of the flower. There's a bunch of different ones you can use, but especially when it comes to these cheap, kitchen brews, people usually use butane, the stuff you fill up your refillable lighter with. And then it's a very serious process to purge or to get that butane back out of the product. And I hope I don't have to tell you that if you're burning and inhaling butane, absolutely not good for you. So if you are coming to Thailand, if you do want to smoke, I highly suggest finding a reputable source, a good spot. Well, at least now we know a few things that you shouldn't do while you're in Thailand. A thing that I always think about when we're going over these stories is like, Thailand is, for the most part, if you're not hurting anyone else, you know what I mean? If you're not bothering anybody, if you're not being disrespectful, if you're not breaking the laws, there's so much you can do in Thailand and it just won't be a problem, especially compared back to America. Like if you're a bit of a degenerate, that's not really so frowned upon here. There's a lot, you can go out, you can get your drink on, whatever. There's a bunch of stuff you can do to kind of get those vices taken care of. So it always blows my mind that, there's people that have to continue to push it further and further. No matter how much you give some people, they're just going to want to take a little bit more. Granted, I'm no saint. I used to be that person. I think that's why it kind of blows my mind the way that I think about it now. But it's good to understand these things. If you've never come to Thailand, like we mentioned, there are some things that are actually illegal. And when you're seeing them everywhere all the time, whether it be out on the street, Instagram, whatever, I think it could be really easy to get caught up and not really understand what you're doing. If you're about to start traveling for the first time, I cannot understate the importance of looking into what's okay and what's not in whatever country that you're going to. For the most part, like we said, Thailand, you will be good, but if you're somebody who really likes to cut loose and really likes to tie one on, you should definitely look into what's cool and what's not. If you did make it this far in the video, thank you so much for hanging out. We've got some really cool events lined up in the next couple weeks here in Bangkok. So if you'd like to be along for the ride, get updated next time we upload a new video, you know what to do. Those fun little buttons are down below. But it is time for me to go get some lunch. I'm thinking cheeseburger. The American inside of me is screaming today. I've been living off paydays and Slim Jims for the past 2 days. If you know, you know. I appreciate you, bro. Thanks for packing that stuff over from the States. But I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. See you in the next video.